All right, what's up, everybody? Eric here again. I wanted to make a quick video here, just kind of recapping today's trade. A lot of you guys are messaging me about this, and I just want to kind of just make a quick video, just to kind of probably address everyone's questions that you have all at once, so that way, it just kind of hit the nail on the head with all fronts that I can as quickly as possible. Got a little bit of a busy day today as well too, but I forgot to take out this quick time since I got done with a couple of things early to just make this quick video recapping my trade for you. All right. Um, yeah. Bad day, of course. It's Monday, June 5th. Kicked off this week today with a loss. You know, not the way I wanted to start the week, but of course, it's part of the game. You can't do nothing about it. It was about a $350 loss for me today. Well over what 20% loss of my total trade. Not bad. I mean, way worse than what I expected because I've broken like two of my rules, and we'll cover that here in a second. Um, but pretty much that set the precedence for today because it wasn't that great of a day in the market. I mean, in fact, not much movement. Period. I mean, there were some few little things like obviously watch list did well for those of you who got in it. FRZA did great. I didn't trade it like an idiot, kept watching it all day. Didn't really focus on it too much, but I think it's because psychologically I really wasn't in the zone to trade today. I kind of like forced these trades. When I woke up, I wasn't feeling like, doing much of anything, but I was like, you know what? Got to put the screen time in. It's just part of the job, unfortunately. So I did it and honestly just kind of took that trade in out of, pure either, boredom and, not really good, I would say patience in this point. But hey, it is what it is. Live to trade another day. But there was some decent moves, but like nothing spectacular today. So if you sat out today, you didn't miss much. That's great for those of you that did trade. And if you were just like me and you felt that loss, welcome to the club. But let's just go ahead and jump into this. Yeah, so the trade I took today was TMBR. Um, and I pretty much just kind of, flick this one out. So let's kind of look at how, this kind of played out. Obviously, this was today's watch list. You had FRZA, and this thing did really good. I didn't look at UCAR. It just kind of grinded along all day as well too, below the volume weighted average price. And you guys know me as a trader. I'm a bullish trader, so I'm going to look at bullish setups and things like that that fit my criteria. But this was pretty much today. So upon entering the market today, of course we had that to look at. But then as the pre-market begins to develop and starts begin to move, we had a few other little spikes here and there with BVXV and others. But one that caught my eye was Timber. And it did have news. I know I had put that any other news, no other news was out there, but it did have that news on the catalyst with the FDA grant announcement. Um, and so immediately, when that came out, thought that was pretty interesting. You guys know a lot of pharmaceutical stocks are known for moving. So my thought was, if this is a, good news article, good catalyst hitting the checklist when it comes to the stats, you guys know what I look for in my stats. So pretty much did the routine checklist like I did. Um, this trade right here, guys, is a great example of how what I teach you guys in the course about random reinforcement plays into effect. But also, too, this also kind of helps demonstrate that not every trade you're going to trade is going to be great. Not every strategy you're going to have is going to work 100% of the time. The purpose of you being a trader is to find that consistency in the market that aligns with the way you trade. And you guys know that are have the course know what some of my trading strategies and plans are. And this is one instance where hey, it just didn't work out for whatever reason. But when I look back at it, that's fine. But also too, if had I broken, had I not broken a few of the rules that I did that I have for myself, I probably would have, saved myself a lot more headache. I still would have probably taken that loss, but it wouldn't have been as detrimental. I could have turned that $300 loss into like a $150 loss or maybe even less. But when you break your rules too, that's why those parameters are in place. But let's just kind of take a look at this. So we had the catalyst there in pre-market, and not really seeing much of any news, but it just kept rising and rising. Let's take a look at the stock. So obviously the stock was alerted. I pulled it up looking at the parameters. I'm looking at level two. Green, buy orders were coming in, so orders were very slim. So I'm like, okay, great, this thing is going to rise. You guys know what I normally like to do, of course. When my trades come, I'm either going to ride the wave or do one of the VWAP strategies, right? And so with this one here, I got in at 315. Let's take a look at the chart and see where 315 is at, right? So my plan was to get in at that amount. My stop loss was wanting to be, around like 260 at the latest, provided how deep the pullback came into play. But here we are, 315. I brought basically this bad boy at the top, at this point, and this is in pre-market now, right? Pre-market. So my thought process was that with all those orders that are coming in, that hey, I can ride that little wave, and maybe if the pullback shows some support, I can you know add into my position and scale out. Fortunately, that didn't work out that way. These guys basically, I got fooled. I mean, the level two orders look good. As the downturn was coming, it came in heavily. And of course, this is probably a lot of people that are like bag holders from this point, cashing out, at this point. This is pre-market. I thought it was a little bit of, possibility here, but unfortunately it wasn't. It's still just grinding along volume weighted average price. And now this isn't bad because you guys know that during a lot of times, in pre-market, I'm willing to, hold strength to this because look, it's nowhere near the 260 level. That was a good level of support that I had for myself. Even though I got in at 315, I expected the pullback to come somewhat near one of these tall candles where they were pushed up already, which was good because it held support there until it didn't. And when it didn't, is where I got screwed over basically. All right. So yeah, let's take a look at it. Got in at 315, pullback immediately happened. So I'm like, okay, you know what? That's fine. Dropping that, is normal to be expected. The problem is, volume weighted average price fell below it before even turning down on the MACD. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I can still add in a position and wait for the turn back for the buy orders to see how high those get. Did all that, held throughout that, held throughout that. Okay, good level support is being established. These candles are showing me what I kind of want to see when it came to, the support being built up. And this is a few minutes into pre-market. Obviously, I'm okay with this because there's not a lot of volume coming in pre-market. Had there's been a ton of volume, then I'd be a little worried. But I wasn't too worried. So I held it on to a little bit, waited for that pop back up. It never touched back to 315. So the whole time, from this point on, I'm still in the red, right? Now, you guys know one of my rules is I need to be cashing out, win or loss, before pre-market ends, because if you ideally you want to trade in the market time frame that you're in because you don't know what's coming up in the next flow, right? So for example, if you're in pre-market trading hours, you want to enter and exit your pre-market trading hours. That's just my rule. If I'm in, opening bell or close before lunchtime, I want to try to get in and out between them unless it's giving me a reason for price action to stay in there. Or if I'm in power hour or after hours, et cetera, I want to enter in and exit there. That's just how it's divvied up for me and some of the things that I teach you guys in the course too. But of course, I'm human. I'm gonna make a mistake. So I got a little greedy, hoping that it would, surprise me and shoot on up. Yeah, epic fail. It dropped right at the open. At the open. And of course, I'm getting my tail handed to me at this point, and I'm like, okay, that's even worse because I don't know where support's going to be established at. And this is just me hanging on and hanging on in hope. Hopium. I took a big dose of it today. And then of course, naturally, progressively, the stock is going to try to come back up, and it never did. At this point in the time, guys, there's no reason, to me, myself, I'm telling myself, okay, pre-market, it failed to break out. Opening bell is failing to break out. And it's under the volume weighted average price. This trade just purely went against me. Reviewing it now, I'm looking like this was just a bad trade. My strategy was bullish. I was going to wait for a pullback, wait for some support. I should have been getting right here, and then when I seen here it didn't work, I should have been able to get out. Unless it was going to grind a little bit longer, then wait for the pop. But you have to get out before pre-market and wait for another setup. that was really just supposed to be the plan for me in my mind. However, I did not stick to it. I did not stick to my rules of cashing out. Made myself take a bigger loss than expected. 20% gains. I usually try to cut my percentage gains to like a 10 to 15% time frame. If it's longer than that or more than that, I need to just go ahead and cut it and wait for another setup because that's too much of a hit. So yeah, this is pretty much how it played out. And I took the loss. I believe it was at like $2 and I want to say like 30 something cents when it came back. But you know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter because look, it's still it just grinded on. It's gotten even worse. It's pretty much coming back to where it was in the beginning. So obviously, yeah, it could have been worse, but it's still this was just a bad trade I executed. So yeah, 22% loss, minus $351. I'm mad, of course. Obviously, that's normal, but again, just come back tomorrow, brush it off. I learned from this, little experience. This setup didn't work. Um, well, not the fact that this strategy didn't work. It just didn't work with this particular stock at this particular time. But this is where your risk management comes in, right? You got to stick to your rules, psychology, and of course, screen time. All this stuff is what plays a factor into you becoming a better trader. You have to do all this stuff. Whether you like it or not, you got to get used to losing. No one's going to know all, okay? Even the market makers, they're going to have to execute the orders to way the market seems fit, and that's just how it is. You can make all the context and conspiracies and all things that you want, like, hey, these guys know what's happening before, and yeah, of course they do because they have to actually set the tone. But there's nothing they can do about it. They're obligated to buy those things. So if the market is being pushed this way or one way or another, unfortunately, it's going against you and what your thought process is. Not everything is going to be right. Okay? So don't get mad about it. Learn from it, move on. That's just today's lesson. Again, doesn't mean my strategy sucks, doesn't mean my execution sucks, doesn't mean the market sucks. Random reinforcement just shows me that my trade at this point in time was a bad trade. Because that same strategy can work on another stock. For example, like the one that was on the watch list. This trade here just required a little bit more patience, which I didn't have today. Because again, it was just me personally. I wasn't feel like trading. It was a long weekend. Had a lot going on. Won't let me get into that personal stuff, guys. But it was just not a lot going on. Like I just I had my baseball game. I played horribly. I was just sore all weekend. Wanted to do some things with the missus. We hang out and stuff like that. We went to a couple concerts. I mean, I was just tired all around. And I worked Saturday. So, like I had a lot of things going on with a couple of my rentals and things I had to tend to. I mean, it was just a busy, busy week. So, but again, that transitions into the market, which is why if you don't feel good up into the market psychologically, you need to sit out. It's okay to sit out sometimes. You don't have to trade every day. But yeah, let's use FRZA for example, as if I would have did the same trading strategy with this stock. Probably would have worked out a lot better. But also, too, this thing, you had to hold this thing for a while today. But yeah, so for example, if I would have gotten this bad boy in pre-market, like I, originally wanted to, you had, a pop here, pull back for support, then another pop, pull back for support, then another pop. So this thing, had you got in at the watch list time frame 248, could have rode at least to the 320s, which would have still been a good deal. Then it would have grinded along the rest of pre-market. You could have exited before pre-market. Let the stock pull back. If you wanted to get back into it again, you wait for some levels of support, which is, right here, of course. Then let it pop, pull back, support still there, let it pop, pull back, support still there, let it pop, pull back, support still there, pop. That's just kind of how that works. Sorry, that pops up. But yeah, that's pretty much, what you're looking at there, guys. So you have plenty of ample time, different trades that you could execute. But again, small loss. Hope you guys learn from this, understand where I'm coming from when it comes to the process. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Let's hopefully make some money in the market. I'm gonna try to go to bed early today and get back into it. Till then, stay green.